It was a male polar bear that tried to hunt a walrus but failed. In the end, it found no food and died of starvation, but its unfortunate death became the reason a starving mother bear was able to survive. Eating the corpse of its own kind is a shocking but real event. Because of rising temperatures on Earth, sea ice is melting earlier and freezing later. As a result, polar bears remain trapped on land for longer periods and are unable to hunt seals. In such conditions, eating one another has become the cruelest but most desperate option for them. Over the past 10 years, the population of polar bears in Hudson Bay has declined by 22%, and incidents of cannibalism are continuing to increase. This is a harsh adaptation process adopted in their most desperate circumstances. Polar bears are not as agile as other land animals, so they cannot hunt easily and often have to remain hungry. Even after autumn arrives, this mother bear and her two cubs, Snow and Isla, spend most of their time starving. Sometimes they try to fill their stomachs by eating seaweed, but the energy they get from it is very low. Some polar bears are now beginning to learn how to catch fish. This mother bear also takes her cubs there, but even though their size is similar to brown bears, catching fish is extremely difficult for them. Many times, even after trying with all their strength, they fail to catch a single fish, and even if they do, the energy they gain is less than the effort they spend. The mother bear is completely exhausted, but she cannot give up because her cubs' lives depend on her. These days, she suffers from the pain of hunger every single day. Eating grass and plants has become her habit, but all of her energy is being drained by feeding milk to her cubs. For more than a month, she has survived only on plants. Because of this nutrient-poor diet, her weight continues to decline, and she has become extremely weak. Even so, every day she goes to the seashore in search of food, but every attempt ends in failure. At the beginning of December, with icy winds blowing, the temperature drops below -20 degrees Celsius. This becomes a ray of hope for the polar bears because the 5-month period of starvation is finally about to end. The surface of the sea slowly begins to freeze. As soon as the ice freezes completely, the mother bear will be able to hunt seals with her cubs and store enough fat. This will also allow her to produce plenty of milk for her cubs. Hundreds of polar bears gather along the seashore waiting for the ice to freeze. But the days keep passing. The sea does not freeze completely, and the ice is not strong enough for the bears to walk on. For the mother bear, this is the most dangerous time because starving male bears often keep fighting. Snow and Isla are no longer as playful as before. The question is, how long will they be able to survive? To protect her cubs, the mother bear takes them to a high and safe place from where she can watch the condition of the sea. But now she has become so weak that she may stop producing milk at any moment. She simply lies down to conserve energy. Even after a long wait, the sea still does not freeze completely, and the mother bear's milk finally runs out. If she still cannot find food, her cubs will not survive much longer. Finally, she decides to head alone toward the forest, where the danger is even greater. This is wolf territory, and no one knows what will happen there. Wolves have a very large territory and are constantly searching for prey. The mother bear spends the entire day searching for food, but finds nothing. She does not know that a few kilometers away, an old deer has died from the cold, and the first ones to arrive there are ravens. The ravens cannot completely eat the frozen carcass because its skin is too tough. An elephant's thigh had become filled with a large number of parasitic worms. The veterinarians decided to make an incision in the thigh and remove all of them. The staff immediately created an emergency rescue plan. The first step was to numb the affected area on the elephant. Only when the elephant could no longer feel pain would it be possible to continue the treatment safely. It was a very good thing that this elephant was extremely intelligent. It seemed as though he understood the people's good intentions. He knew that everyone was trying to help relieve his suffering. That is why he remained standing calmly in one place throughout the entire procedure and fully cooperated with the staff without moving. At that time, the abscess on the elephant's thigh had become severely swollen. Its skin was stretched tightly, and it looked as though it could burst at any moment. If the abscess burst, the poison could spread further through the body and cause an even more dangerous infection. That is why it became extremely important to drain the fluid from inside the abscess immediately. Even a delay of 1 minute could increase the danger for the elephant. The venom of the king cobra was spreading rapidly through his bloodstream. It was destroying his red blood cells and slowly taking his life. The good thing was that an elephant's body is enormous, and its physical strength is incredibly powerful. If this had been a smaller animal, such as a hunting dog or a lion, and it had been bitten by a king cobra, it probably would not have survived by now. To completely remove the venom from the elephant's body, two things were necessary. The first was to inject a sufficient amount of antivenom so the poison inside the body could be neutralized. The second was to drain the toxic fluid from the swollen area so that no venom remained there. The most important part of giving the antivenom injection was correctly estimating the elephant's weight. Only according to its weight could the proper dosage be determined to achieve the best possible effect against the venom. This ensured that the medicine would neither be too little to stop the poison, nor so much that it could cause additional harm to the elephant's body. Despite the severe pain from the wound, this intelligent elephant remained completely calm in one place and allowed the staff to administer the injections. Because of his enormous body size, the staff had to give him 3 injections continuously. Only then was the first stage of neutralizing the venom completed. After administering the anti-venom injections, the most important and dangerous part of the entire rescue operation began, which was draining the fluid from the swollen area. This task was dangerous because it required making an incision in the swollen tissue. If the elephant suddenly felt intense pain during the procedure and became uncontrollable and attacked, the consequences could have been terrifying. The staff did not show even the slightest carelessness. First, they thoroughly cleaned the elephant's wound and the surrounding skin with alcohol so that no infection would occur while making the incision. After cleaning the area, they immediately made a precise opening at the most swollen part of the wound. By gently pressing with cotton, the toxic fluid trapped inside slowly began to drain out through the opening. Every single drop of that fluid was highly poisonous and a danger to the elephant's life. Once all the fluid had been removed, the staff gave the elephant another injection to prevent infection so that no further complications would develop in the wound and the treatment could work properly. There is every hope that with the dedicated care of these kind staff members, this elephant, who has suffered through such terrible pain, will recover from danger and soon return to the wild to live his life freely once again. A monkey's tiny mistake turns it into prey for a leopard. At this time, this female leopard is raising one of her cubs. Her cub has now started eating meat. This small monkey somehow manages to satisfy the hunger of both the mother and the cub. The hollow inside the tree is the very place where the young leopard spent the first few weeks of his life. But keeping the cub's safety in mind, the leopard mother decides to change her shelter today so that the cub's scent does not attract other predators. After leaving the cub in a safe place, the leopard mother heads out to hunt. Spotted deer are her favorite prey. Using the cover of the land, she slowly moves closer to it. As she walks, she repeatedly raises her head to watch the deer's movements. Alertness is the main foundation of her successful hunting. The attack begins only when the prey senses no danger at all. The leopard mother firmly grips the deer's neck. No matter how much the deer struggles, it cannot escape. Using her experience, she protects herself from the deer's powerful and deadly hind legs and finally brings the prey down. But in the forest, no secret remains hidden for long. Her kill catches the attention of a wild hunting dog. The dog rushes in at great speed and, without hesitation, steals the prey away. The leopard mother can only helplessly watch her hunt being taken away. Empty-handed, she returns to her shelter. The moment the young leopard hears her call, he quickly comes to her. Even though the mother herself is hungry, she still feeds milk to her cub. Time continues to pass in this way. The next time the young leopard is seen, he has become 1.5 years old. Now he stands on the edge of an independent life. His mother has already taught him all the necessary hunting skills, but he still cannot understand which prey is suitable for him. This time, the leopard mother catches a large prey and drags the heavy kill back with her. Perhaps this is their final meal together. Very soon, the leopard mother will drive her cub away from her territory. Even if the cub is not completely ready yet, this is the unavoidable path of his growth. A few days later, the young leopard begins struggling on his own for survival. At that stage, he is not capable of hunting large animals, so he focuses only on small yellow-beaked birds. Hunting flying birds is extremely difficult, but after constant effort, he finally succeeds. After separating from his mother, this becomes his first successful hunt. Even though he is now living independently, he still roams within his mother's territory. One day, he suddenly catches a glimpse of her and immediately moves toward her, but the mother becomes displeased by his approach and signals him to stay away. This behavior may seem harsh, but in reality, it is her way of making him completely self-reliant. Soon afterward, they separate once again. Now, meeting each other again in the future will become even more difficult. The young leopard continues watching his mother walk away with sorrowful eyes. Now, only one path remains before him. A wild hare bursts out of the bushes, and instantly dozens of hunting dogs lock onto it. The moment the hare realizes the danger, it explodes into a full-speed sprint. But these dogs are built for endurance just as much as speed, making them one of the deadliest predators a prey animal can face. Within seconds, 3 dogs close the distance. Still, the hare fights back with pure instinct, making sharp turns and wide loops to throw them off. Every movement is calculated. One mistake would mean death, but escaping a pack this large is almost impossible. As the chase continues, more dogs spread out from different directions, trying to surround and exhaust the hare. Even then, it refuses to give up. Using the terrain to its advantage, the hare repeatedly slips away at the last second, changing direction so suddenly that the dogs overshoot their target again and again. The problem is stamina. The hare is getting weaker with every second, while the pack keeps growing more relentless. Out in the open field, there's nowhere to hide, only run. After an exhausting chase, just as the hare begins to run out of strength, it spots a tiny burrow ahead. With no hesitation, it dives straight inside and disappears underground in an instant. After all that effort, the hunting dogs are left with nothing. For days, a starving Indian leopard had been watching a herd of deer moving in the distance, but nearby, another powerful predator was also hiding in the shadows. The leopard lowered its body close to the ground and slowly began creeping toward the herd. The soft pads of its paws completely muffled its footsteps, and the deer had absolutely no idea that danger was approaching. When it got close enough to the herd, it suddenly stopped, almost as if it was carefully choosing the perfect target. At the same time, the second predator was also preparing for its final attack. Suddenly, the leopard exploded toward the deer like lightning. It chose a young sambar deer as its target. The herd panicked and scattered in every direction. But the leopard's sudden move completely ruined the opportunity for the Bengal tiger hiding in the darkness. Just as the leopard was about to catch the sambar, the deer delivered a powerful kick straight to its head, instantly throwing the leopard off balance. The moment it got back up to continue the chase, the Bengal tiger suddenly burst out from the darkness and attacked. The huge difference in size and strength gave the leopard almost no chance to respond effectively. It fought back with everything it had. Its head whipped violently from side to side, while its claws repeatedly struck the tiger's chest in a desperate attempt to escape the king of the jungle. But the Bengal tiger had locked its jaws tightly around the leopard's neck. Using its incredible strength, it pinned the leopard to the ground. The tiger wanted to make up for the failed hunt by taking the leopard's life instead. It paid no attention to the deep scratches landing across its body from the leopard's claws. Its thick skin acted like powerful natural armor. The leopard realized that if it continued fighting head-on, it would not survive much longer. Then the leopard made what looked like a gesture of surrender. It rolled over, exposing its soft underbelly, and the instant the Bengal tiger hesitated for even a second, the leopard's will to survive suddenly gave it a burst of new strength. With everything it had left, it sprinted toward a nearby tree and rapidly climbed upward. In that moment, the leopard believed the Bengal tiger standing below could no longer harm it. But what it didn't realize was that this move had filled the tiger with pure rage. Although large tigers do not usually climb trees, that does not mean they cannot. Despite its massive body, this Bengal tiger quickly climbed the tree and in a single powerful move, dragged the leopard back down to the ground. Against the overwhelming power of the jungle's supreme ruler, the leopard's final hope of escape vanished. No matter how hard it struggled or tried to break free, it could not escape that iron-like grip. Slowly, the leopard's strength began to fade, and in this terrifying battle, the Bengal tiger finally emerged victorious. Not only had it eliminated a rival from its territory, but it had also secured a massive meal. In the forests of India and South Asia, the territories of Bengal tigers and Indian leopards often overlap. Although conflicts between them do happen from time to time, leopards usually try to avoid tigers whenever possible. The Bengal tiger truly is the unmatched king of the jungle. Its orange and black striped coat provides perfect camouflage within the forest. While hunting, it can remain completely motionless for long periods of time, and the instant its prey enters striking range, it launches a sudden explosive attack. With its enormous body and incredible power, it can overpower prey almost instantly. Then, using its unbelievably strong jaws, it crushes the prey's neck or throat, causing a quick death. This is the true power of the Bengal tiger, the force that has placed it at the very top of the jungle food chain. If you enjoy dangerous and thrilling jungle battles like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We see an African elephant calf trying very hard to stretch its trunk, but it still cannot reach the water. Maybe it was standing there and accidentally slipped into the water pit. This small water hole could be extremely dangerous for the calf. It cannot get out on its own because the slope of the pit is so steep that even a large animal would struggle to climb out. The mother elephant also has no experience with rescue situations. She stretched her leg toward the calf so it could use her support to climb up, but the calf was not strong enough to hold on to its mother's back leg. After that, the mother tried to create a step for the calf, but the soil around the edge was too dry, so that attempt also failed. By this time, the other members of the elephant herd had gathered to watch the rescue. The leader of the herd waved its trunk and signaled the mother to guide the calf toward the other side. This was a huge risk for the mother because the calf had no understanding of water yet, and it had not even learned to lift its trunk above the surface in order to breathe while in deep water. But the calf completely trusted its mother. Even though the river water was rising above its head, it continued following behind her. Walking through the muddy river water was extremely exhausting for the calf. The mother and calf finally crossed the small river. When the calf reached the other side, it was completely exhausted. After reaching the bank, it had no strength left to climb the small upper ledge, but its mother helped pull it onto the shore. At this age, the calf is still supposed to survive only on milk, yet it was trying to imitate its mother by attempting to drink water. Maybe after this experience, it will not be so mischievous again. Eventually, the calf made it onto the shore, but it did not get any chance to rest because there was only water there and very little food to eat. Now the calf had to keep moving forward with its family, relying only on instinct and memory. This is the worst drought this region has experienced in the last 10 years. The elephant herd is struggling desperately to find food, and that need is forcing them to keep moving. For every single step the mother takes, the calf has to take 6. This is the calf's first journey after birth, and it could possibly be its last. In such extreme drought conditions, survival for a calf is incredibly difficult. At the front of the herd walks their leader, carrying the hopes of the entire group. Using its powerful memory, the leader continues guiding everyone forward. Soon, they arrive at a dried-up riverbed. The river that once flowed in the leader's memory has now completely disappeared. If elephants go 3 days without water, they can die from dehydration. In the current conditions, most of the herd may not survive long enough to reach the next water source. But the leader elephant had already detected the scent of water from several miles away. It could not be wrong. There had to be water there. The leader decided to start digging. An elephant's trunk can detect the smell of water very quickly, and they were extremely close to it. When the leader pushed its trunk deep into the soil, it discovered that water was still flowing underground beneath the dry riverbed. This was incredible news. The leader elephant's remarkable survival experience ended up saving the entire herd. Meanwhile, the calf standing nearby became curious and started copying its mother by trying to drink water with its trunk. Although it was still too young for that and should still be feeding only on milk, it still wanted to try. Even though water is scarce here, thirst is not the only major cause of death for elephants. From above, it looked like nothing more than a dead bird floating on the water. But in reality, this was one of the most incredible anti-predator techniques used by African jacana chicks. The African jacana is a very unusual water bird. Its most distinctive feature is its extremely long legs and massive feet. Their toes are so long and spread out that their weight is evenly distributed across floating plants. Because of this, they can run across lily pads and floating vegetation without sinking, almost as if they are walking on water. But the strangest thing about them is their family life. Around 97% of bird species live as one male and one female pair, but the African jacana is a one female, many males species. Because of this, all responsibility for the chicks falls entirely on the father. After laying eggs, the female usually leaves. Then the male alone must incubate the eggs, raise the chicks, and protect them from danger. These tiny chicks were only a few days old, barely the size of a matchbox. But surprisingly, they were already highly independent. They did not need their father to feed them. They could move through the floating plants on their own, catching insects and larvae from the water. Even so, their father constantly watched over them because the chicks still did not understand danger. And in this same wetland lived one of the sky's deadliest hunters. This African bird of prey could spot movement through the glare of the water with its incredible eyesight. If it noticed the tiny chicks, their chances of survival would be almost zero. Normally, the father jacana would hide his chicks beneath his wings and move them to safety. But today, the chicks had spread too far apart, so he immediately gave a special warning call. And then something unbelievable happened. The moment the chicks heard their father's warning, they froze exactly where they were, completely motionless, as if even their breathing had stopped. All 4 chicks perfectly used this survival technique. But the predator circling above was still searching for prey. Suddenly, it dived downward at full speed, but its talons caught only a fish. The chicks had survived. As soon as the danger passed, the father quickly began searching for his chicks. First one, then the second, then the third. All of them returned safely, but the 4th chick was nowhere to be found. The father kept calling again and again, but there was no response. In reality, the tiny chick was hiding almost completely underwater. That is why it could not hear its father's calls. From above, it truly looked like a dead bird floating in the water, but its tiny beak remained above the surface like a snorkel, allowing it to breathe comfortably while staying hidden underwater. Meanwhile, the father continued desperately searching for his missing chick. Eventually, he reached the exact spot where it was hiding. The moment the chick sensed its father nearby, it immediately emerged from the water and slowly swam back toward him. Finally, all the chicks were safe again beneath their father's wings. The African jacana protects its chicks in an incredibly unusual way. The father hides all the chicks underneath his wings. From a distance, it looks like a strange bird running across the water with dozens of tiny legs underneath it. After that, the father led his chicks to another safer area. Once they arrived, he released them again so they could continue learning how to survive in the vast wetland on their own. A female leopard named Lana was hunting a wild bull that was several times larger than her. Even though she had locked her jaws tightly around the bull's throat, the massive animal still refused to give up before dying. Again and again, it tried to stand back up, but Lana's long, razor-sharp teeth had already sunk deep into its neck. The more the bull struggled, the tighter Lana's grip became. Eventually, the bull suffocated to death. Taking down such a massive prey was a clear sign that Lana had reached the peak of her strength. Her power, speed, and hunting skills had become almost perfect. But while she was peacefully feeding on her kill, someone was watching her from a distance. It was her father, Bahadur. For the past 5 years, Bahadur had ruled this entire territory. Although he had grown old, his strength was still extremely dangerous, and he tolerated no rivals inside his land. Meanwhile, Lana still did not have enough courage to directly challenge his father. But Bahadur was already angry at his son's actions because Lana was slowly taking over his territory and authority. Sometime later, Lana found a mate. The two secretly mated far away from Bahadur's sight. But this meant Lana had taken one of his father's females, and for any leopard king, that was a direct challenge. Then June arrived, and the rainy season began in India. With the rains, new life started spreading through the jungle. During this time, the female leopard gave birth to 3 of Lana's cubs. Food was plentiful, so the cubs began growing quickly. But they were still far from safe, because the true king of this jungle was still Bahadur. One day, when the female leopard returned, she sensed that something was wrong. There was a familiar scent in the air. Then suddenly, her eyes locked onto a tree. One of her cubs was no longer alive. This was Bahadur's doing. In the wild, male leopards often kill the cubs of rival males so the female can breed again sooner. Luckily, one small cub managed to escape, but now it had become extremely dangerous for them to stay in this territory. Meanwhile, the young Lana was slowly taking control of the entire region. With every passing day, his confidence kept growing. His strength and hunting abilities were now becoming almost equal to his father's, and that could mean only one thing. The balance of power in the jungle was about to change. Soon after, Bahadur tracked down his son using scent trails, and the most dangerous battle for the throne finally began. Bahadur attacked first because the loser of this fight would be forced to leave the jungle forever. Slowly, the battle moved from the ground into the trees, but Bahadur had become exhausted, while Lena looked stronger than ever. Finally, the weakened Bahadur lost his grip and fell from the tree. He no longer had the strength to fight his son, and with that, the jungle had a new king. Lana had now become the ruler of his father's empire, but his real struggle was only beginning because his territory was now dangerously close to human settlements. Due to India's growing population, leopard habitats are disappearing rapidly. Forced out of their forests, leopards are entering human areas more often, and with that begins the deadly conflict between humans and leopards.
Juicy and tender baby crocodiles are rich in nutrients. For a hungry raccoon, this is nothing less than a rare protein feast. In tropical rivers where the water glitters with the shine of fish scales, some extremely clever and cold-blooded predators live. With the help of their unique skin patterns, they make themselves look like floating logs and silently remain hidden beneath the surface of the water. Their real target is the prey above the water. The moment a careless deer falls into the water, it becomes their food within seconds. Meanwhile, deep inside the jungle, a female crocodile waits patiently near a riverbank. Although these creatures are cold-blooded, their emotions are very deep. They are among the few reptiles that raise and protect their babies. As soon as night falls, she searches for the right place and starts digging the soil with her strong hind legs. After everything is ready, she begins laying her precious eggs. Crocodiles have to lay a large number of eggs, so the chances of their babies surviving become higher. After nearly 1 hour, the process of laying eggs is complete. Then she uses her powerful tail to erase the marks of the nest so that no predator can find it, because the animals roaming nearby never miss a chance to eat these delicious crocodile eggs. That is why the female crocodile stays near the nest and protects it from every danger. But then, a raccoon arrives there. This famous thief of the jungle never misses a chance to find food. With its sharp sense of smell, it reaches the exact location of the nest. Then, with its thin and agile paws, it quickly starts digging through the soil. Within a short time, a round crocodile egg appears in front of it. Raccoons have a strange habit. Before eating their food, they clean it first. The raccoon picks up the egg, takes it to the nearby water, and starts washing it. But this time, what it finds is completely different from what it expected. Inside the egg, there is not liquid, but a helpless baby crocodile. For the raccoon, this is like a delicious meal falling from the sky. Without wasting any time, it starts tearing apart the innocent baby and eating it. Warm blood and soft flesh begin spreading between its teeth. At the same moment, the female crocodile standing far away senses the danger. She violently swings her powerful tail and rushes toward the nest at high speed. But by then, some of the babies survive the attack because the rule of survival enters their blood from the moment they are born. These babies are dangerous, aggressive, and fierce from birth. There is not even a little weakness or innocence inside them.